Welcome back to the Fit Like Krys podcast. We are back again with, do you go by Alex Lee or Ali? Every time I go to email you, I'm like,
I know. I'm so annoying. I know.
Which one is it?
Go with Alex Lee.
Alex Lee. I like Alex Lee.
It's
but
easy.
Ali is your, what's your government?
Let me break it. My government name. My government name is Alexandra Christina Lieberfinger. It's a mouthful. 21 letters.
Okay.
Thank you, Mom and Dad. And I came up with the Alex Lee persona when I first started on radio because it's like, it's just radio. You need to get in and out, it needs to be concise, and other people are gonna be saying it. And a lot of people use fake names, alternate personas.
Yes.
And so and then it just kind of stuck. And I'm like, it rolls off the tongue better.
Alex Lee from New Jersey.
Oh, that's good.
I like it.
Look at that. You're firing on all cylinders this afternoon.
What day is it? What is it?
What year are we in?
So we are back because I could not let you do a podcast without mentioning what I witnessed kind of from afar, but being someone who has gone through that transition, I knew what you were going through. And I also knew that there was nothing that I could do. And there's nothing really that anybody could do. So you at one point, and we can only get as specific as you are comfortable with and you want, but I think it's really helpful for people to hear people who were curled up on the floor, puking because they were crying so hard, places, to feeling so confident and just on a path to better. How do you get from point A to B? How did it start? What was the first thing that helped you say, like, I can't do this anymore?
Thankfully, with your help and the help of my personal trainer, Austin Kapitanakis, who I've been with for over 3 years now, the two of you, I had such good groundwork laid. I had a routine.
I think you were in Bikini Bootkamp,
Mm-hmm.
like
when this all went
when your life
when my life
exploded.
Went south, yes,
you were week 1 into Bikini Bootcamp. Mm-hmm. So you had just started with you had no idea that this was about to happen, and your life literally exploded. So that's also, I just remember, I got a phone call and I was just
I called you hysterical.
I was like, what's happening right now?
Yeah. Great question. I didn't even know. I'm so thankful, like, to my parents, my sister, to you, and to Austin, because I have, and honestly, it stems from my childhood. Like, I was an athlete my whole life. And so, like, I was always pretty regimented and structured, and like working out and fitness and health and feeling good. Yeah, looking good too, but was always such a big part of who I am and what's important to me. And it's also, I think, why I said in the last episode, like, I've really never had to face adversity until last year, but I was able to kind of like have my head on straighter because, my old joke was therapy's expensive. You can work out basically for free.
Right.
What fitness, whatever you want to call it, wellness does for your mental health, not just your physical health, is so important. And I can now say that firsthand. Like, I've been saying it. I've always believed in it, but now I have gone through it.
Yeah.
I have been through it, honey.
You have the proof.
Yes, I went through walked through the fire.
Yep.
So when I was laying on the floor in a puddle.
What was your darkest time? How did that look? If we could, like, go back into time, like,
I've got to, like, unlock some shit that I've tried to bury.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
I know. Oh God.
What does it look like did you ever feel like you gave up?
No, I wanted to, but I have some amazing people in my life who wouldn't let me. And I was never alone, like physically never alone.
Wow.
Like, I was by myself in my apartment, but my best friends, I'm just going to call them out. Khaki, Kate, Lexi, and Kelly were at my apartment every single night. They brought me food. They brought me wine. We watched movies. We cried. We laughed. I slept in. I didn't want to be. There came a point where I didn't want to be in my apartment because I went through a very, very ugly breakup, and I needed to get the hell out of there. And I was paranoid. I was thinking that all this crazy shit was going to happen to me, and so I slept in bed with my friend Lexi for, like, I don't even know how many nights. Like, me and her like just sleep. I was like cuddled up next to her
Mm,
because I didn't want to sleep alone in my apartment. I don't even recognize that person. And I said that to my parents because then it got to a point where I went down to my parents' house in North Carolina. And I was there for a couple of weeks and I just like shut off the world. And I did talk to you because you texted me, you're like, I see you in class every morning. I'm proud of you.
mhm.
And I was like, it's literally the only thing I have in life right now.
I was I felt so like, oh, that just like made me feel such at ease and also so proud of you because again, I know what it's like to be in that position and not recognize yourself and not understand why it's typically so easy to do X, Y, and Z, but it feels impossible at a certain point. And
Yeah.
you're like, what's wrong with me?
Not only that, but I was getting up at like 7 a.m. to do like your first classes. And I was like, and even my parents, because my dad has now told me, he was like, in the days leading up to you coming down, and even some of the days that you were here, like, I'm gonna like cry right now. Oh my God. He was like, your mom was like crying at night because she was like, I'm so scared because I don't know like, who is this
Who is it?
person? And
Yeah.
like, we were just so worried for you. I'm like, I wasn't gonna do anything, I think, to harm myself,
Right.
but they didn't know that. People don't know that because this is me.
Yeah.
This is who I am. Like when you met me early 2020, right before the pandemic, like this has always been who I am. And I just got so far away from that because of life, because of my mental health just taking hits like
Hmm.
left and right. It was like one thing after the next. And I was like literally like, what the fuck else can I go through?
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
universe, whoever.
Yeah.
So I got down there. I was a shell of a human. I didn't recognize myself, but I was like, you know what? I'm in this bikini boot camp. I was like, I was like, the only thing that I can control right now is A, working out, and B, when I want to do it. So I would sign up on the app. I would wake up. I would do my class. And then the rest of the day was like, just get through.
This is a really good reminder that if you feel like your life is an absolute shitstorm and that you need to get ready to start working out or you need to be ready to do bikini boot camp or you need to be ready to, it's actually, don't wait,
Nope.
do it now. It's actually going to help you get through it.
Like there's literally no excuse. Like if I mean, truly, I was like, I have to do this because it's crazy because I know it's like with mental health, eating disorder stuff. Like a lot of like this disordered behavior or whatever comes from people's feeling like they're not in control and they want to control
Hmm.
something in their
Hmm.
life, like other things in life they can't control. And so that's kind of like I'm like sympathetic to it now because I was like, well, I'm not in control of anything that's happening right
Right.
now. I everything. I have nothing. I mean, I have my health, but I have nothing. I have my
Yeah.
physical health. My mental
Yeah.
health is shot. No job, no apartment.
Yeah.
Like I have my family, my health, my friends. So I'm like, the one thing I can control is getting my ass out of bed and moving. And so I'm like, let me just do that. And obviously, I don't have to speak to the mental benefits. I'm like, just doing that every morning, like, kind of set the tone for like, if I didn't do it, maybe I wouldn't have been able to have like a decent mindset to get through the day, but I did it, and so I feel like it also I was still depressed, don't get it twisted. I did it, and then I was like, "Okay, well, now I feel like I'm a little more equipped to handle the trials and tribulations that are about to be thrown at me that I might not even be able to predict."
So fitness, working out, Bikini boot camp was only 6 weeks of that period. How long were you in this, like, sort of, like, darker shell of yourself, and what else besides fitness? You mentioned spirituality.
Yes. I have another person I wanna shout out, my friend Star, who is a former colleague of mine. Oh my god, I, like, got goosebumps just saying that. She called me one day, it was right before I went down to North Carolina, was like, and we'd kind of been in touch here and there. It wasn't like I have everybody was not everybody. There's some people who I'm no longer friends with, or even are no longer my life. But that's life, right? Like
Yes,
your life is
you
weed
don't
and
expect
garden,
it.
and
Yep.
I've always heard that, and I feel like till I was in my 30s, I'm like, oh shoot, this is what this person was talking
Yeah.
about. We're like, oh, people are gonna come and go, and it might be people who you didn't think were gonna come and
Yeah.
go, but whatever. So like the people who showed up and people who weren't in my life who came out of the woodwork or like, I forgot about, but then when I'm at rock bottom, normally it's the other way around. When you're up high, people are coming out of the woodwork.
Right.
I'm at rock bottom and like people who I haven't heard from in decades are coming out of the woodwork. But my friend Star was one of the many amazing angels in my life. I call it I have a whole list of people. I wrote it down of my
Mm,
silver lining list because this was a shit time.
mm.
And so there were so many little silver linings. And I think it was my therapist told me like, you have to physically write down or say out loud the things you're grateful for every morning or every night or at some point in the day because when you're practicing the act of gratitude, psychologically, nothing else can penetrate your mental space.
That's such a
Like
good
even if it's for
tip.
2 seconds,
Yes.
it's on my dating profile actually.
Yes.
Even if it's for 2 seconds and you're like, I'm so grateful that Crystal asked me to be on her podcast, and I'm so grateful for that medicine ball tea I had from Starbucks because that's a nice little treat, and I'm so grateful it's like 50 degrees outside today and the sun is shining, like, I just
That's
felt
all
happy and
you can,
positive,
yeah.
and then I can think about, "Oh, shit, I have, like, no actual career job right now," and then I can go back into my wallowing in self-pity, but, like, for at least a short-lived moment, those little sparks and moments are so important, but anyway, my friend Star called me and she was like, I don't know if she goes, I feel like, we're close enough where you probably know this about me. I don't like really broadcast it. She said, I'm a very spiritually religious person. Like my faith is the most important thing in my life to me
Mhm,
besides my family. And
mhm.
she said, I have this gift and, I know God's put it in me and instilled this in me for a reason. And I have the last couple of days felt so called to pray over you. And if you're like, yo, bitch, this is weird. No
Mhm.
thanks. I'll shut the fuck up and you don't have to. And we can just chit chat about whatever. And I was so down. I was like, I will take anything I can get right now.
Yeah.
No, like the fact that you called me and you said that, I'm so deeply, deeply touched and moved.
Mhm.
um, so thank you. And then she literally sat on the phone and I sobbed and she prayed. And then when I went to North Carolina, she sent me like a voice note a week of her just praying
Oh,
for
that's
me.
beautiful.
And it was like so insane in the best way. And now she's in California living her best life. And I'm so proud of her and we keep in touch. And she's somebody who, again, this like beautiful friendship flourished. Like we were friends. We were boys at work. Like we would always mess around and have fun. Like me and her were like probably two of the funnest people that worked there.
Mhm.
Like we kept it fun. And now she's on the other side of the country, but like we are still in touch. And I'm like, this is someone who's gonna be in my life forever because
Yeah.
she came to me in a really dark time. Um, and that's those are the other things that kind of have kept me going. Like people have reached out in ways and told me stories or shared secrets or sent me things like books or quotes or whatever. A lot of people in your community, Nanette, chief among, helped me so much. She still checks in on me like once every couple of weeks. She's checked in on me last week. Um, just the communities and that is again like when I was down like at rock bottom. I realized this, but now I'm able to like say it and like really, really feel and acknowledge it, like how lucky I am to
Mm.
have the tribes of people and so many. It's
Yeah.
always been quality over quantity for me, but like the amount of people who just came and were like
Yeah,
an
and
outpouring of
I
support.
feel the need to speak to the people who don't have a tribe, and one of the beautiful things I love about spirituality and part of what I do is I kind of break things down that seem out of touch for people, like sound healing, for instance, or meditation is a good example,
Yeah.
or even workouts. Like I make things really digestible. So when it comes to spirituality, religion is a construct, it kind of restricts a lot of people
Mhm.
from fitting in because it's specific, but spirituality is open to everybody. And gratitude is prayer.
Yep.
So if someone out there is like, "Oh, I don't pray," it's like, okay. Well, first of all, if you don't feel comfortable praying or you feel like an imposter or whatever, just gratitude is prayer.
Mhm.
You don't have to follow a certain religion to. There's a saying. Well, there's a couple sayings, but you keep mentioning this phrase "rock bottom," and I keep thinking of a saying that's like, when you hit rock bottom, you find out who or what the rock is at the bottom, which is God or spirituality. And we try to put such a hard hand on our life, and we try to control everything, and we, without pausing and thinking and listening, like you mentioned in the last, of listening to whatever that voice or whatever that thing that's trying to guide you, instead of you trying to push your agenda and what you think you should do. It's like in our jobs, in our relationships, listening and feeling that, whatever that is.
Mhm.
And I think that that's a really, that you don't have to have a tribe to have that support. Like,
No.
you are supported always from that rock at the bottom, which is your
Exactly.
spirituality, if you want to tap into it.
Exactly. Which is something that I have really, really gotten intimately in touch with and familiar with during this journey. But also just like a great opportunity to say, why not join the crew if you're not already part of it? Because look at like the community that you've fostered and created is wonderful, not just to like to keep us accountable during challenges or whatever, like for so many, because everybody, think about it, think about like this is just as a part of all the FLK members lives.
Right.
They have all Everybody's got all different things going on, so like you never know what someone else is going through, they've been through, who they know, what they know, like what they do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you were like, and then that was like, in another life, I was a lawyer. And so I was like, well, I have a couple questions I need to ask you. And she was so great and helpful,
Yeah.
and also like, don't be afraid to ask for help. And that's been so huge. This has been a
Yes.
very hard time for me. And my therapist was like, I'm so proud of you. She tells me this like every time. She's like, the way that you've been able to humble yourself, it's fucking painful,
Yeah.
Crystal.
Yeah.
I don't want to be so reliant on other people. I was so I was so proud of my independence that I had finally gotten at age 33, because I just picked an industry that I'm like, I know it's going to pay off eventually, but it's not like the regular career trajectory where like you do your like due diligence and then you get promoted and you get a bonus and then
Yeah.
like, your company, you close down for the week before and you get all these perks and like you work your way up the ladder. No, 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 that's not this industry that I chose. I love it, but that's not it. So I finally got to this point last year, and that's why I was like, I'm on top of the world, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then like God was like, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Because I got knocked on my ass and I had no choice but to find the spirituality at rock bottom and to lean on people. Like, for example, right now I live with I call them my aunt and uncle. I've known them basically my entire life.
Mm.
I grew up they moved across the street from the house I grew up in, like 22 years ago. And I have a lot of extended family, but I'm also a huge believer in like family, or like, you choose your own family to some degree. And they are like my rocks. And so they took me in when I needed somewhere to live, and I live with them. And I'm like, I can't believe that I'm here, that I'm in my 30s and I'm like back home,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they don't make me feel some type of way ever. They're like, this is your house.
Ugh.
You're safe here. This is your space. It's so, and that's not lost on me either, how lucky I am to have a safe space, because I know a lot of people in my position, if you just very generically, if you lose a job, you just got to figure shit out. Like I didn't
Yeah.
work. I'm working now at part-time, and I just started at the beginning of this year, but from August until beginning of January, I had zero income. I didn't get a severance when I was fired.
Wow.
I had to fight to like be able to collect unemployment.
Wow.
So I was able to do that. I had nothing coming in. I mean, I had a savings. Part of that was drained for reasons that will remain
Yes.
unnamed, people that will remain unnamed. Um, but I'm like, I'm so lucky. There are people who don't have a choice. There are people with children, dependents,
Yes.
like single moms or dads who lose a job, and like the other parent isn't in the life, and like they're like, well, I have no choice. I have to get three jobs and
Mhm.
find an apartment and pay rent. Like I was lucky that I could just go liquid. Like I own my car outright. I got rid of rent, everything, and they took me in, and I'm so lucky. And so like I'm in this rebuild transition phase, whatever you want to call it. And it's because I was able to humble myself and ask for help, even though it pains me, because I was like, look at me. I can afford to get my nails done when I want my hair done. I can pay my rent alone. I can afford it alone in Jersey City, in the most expensive area in the
Mhm.
country to live,
Mhm.
and still like go out to eat when I want, travel when I want. That is not lost on me. That is a huge part of like why I work. Like I am fully a full believer in work to live, don't live to work.
Mm.
And my life wasn't looking like that, but I got to a place. And so now that like I have to, kind of refocus and figure out how I'm moving next, like, these are all the thoughts that I have, and I'm like, "Damn." And there's, like, not a day that goes by where I don't take at least one. Sometimes, like, I spend the whole day in my head, like, introspective, but I try to every day make sure to just, like, pause and be like, think about what I went through, think about what I've been going through, and think about where I am now and everything that entails. And I have another, I'm just like full of shout outs. I have been working at a bar restaurant in Hoboken. It's called Mad Hatter, 221 Washington Street. Please come see me. It's so fun. And I'm so grateful because I said to my aunt and uncle, I'm like, I'm exhausted because I forgot how hard the manual labor of like the service industry is. If I ever ran for, I can't run for president. There's obviously too many skeletons in my closet. But if I ever hypothetically did, it would be on the stance that if you want to be a functioning member of society in this country that we live in, you got to at least spend a minute in the service industry because if you haven't worked in the industry, it fucking shows. That
Yeah,
is some real life skills being
it
taught
really
there.
does.
How to deal with adversity, how to deal with confrontation, how to deal with people and personalities, and how to like be a decent human being.
Also, just on top of that, it's the work ethic that you
Yes.
develop. I mean, that like people ask me
It's
now, like,
hard work.
you do a lot. Aren't you so tired? I'm like, I worked in the nightclub industry for like 10 years. Like, this is like I'm
I've
taking a
been
nap.
tired.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like this is like I'm on break, like it's hard
I
what
know.
I do, but like a microcosm of the service industry, the nightlife industry,
Oh,
bottle service,
yes. I'm in and out.
yeah, like it's fun, but it's exhausting.
I'm like sleeping till 2 o'clock in the afternoon because I'm like, I'm closing. And like it's open until 2. And so I get home and you can't just go right to bed after you're in that environment, like the music's loud, your like heart's like in your mouth, and you're like, all right, I go home, I have my hot shower, my tea, I take a gummy, and I'm like, all right, after like 20, 30 minutes, I can like go lay down in bed. And so then I'm like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. But then I like, I get it together, I have my coffee, and I'm like, I'm so grateful to be like a functioning, like contributing member of society. I'm like, this has, if nothing else, this has shown me that I cannot be like a stay at home girly, whatever. Like, I need to have, even if it's a hobby, even if it's a side hustle, like, I gotta work.
Yeah.
I love money and I love working. And I feel like a fucking waste of life if I'm not out there, like, in the workforce in whatever capacity. Like, I love working. And my boss is like, you're insane. He's like, you're like, you just started here. He's like, you're a beast. And I was like, because I
You
love
love it.
working.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And the harder you work, the more money you get in the service industry.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm out there hustling people left and right for tips. Like, so come give me money. I need it, obviously.
So listen, getting out of a dark space, we have taking care of yourself, even if it just means on turning on your computer because you don't want to leave your house and working out, a FLK method. Gratitude, which can also look like prayer or vice versa, like just thanking something or someone for what you have already. And what you said before is is such an important reminder. And if people don't know, like when you're thinking of what you're grateful for, you literally can't think of anything else. It pulls you out of that space of like lack for even if just a moment. And it's so helpful. And then I think writing down what has helped save you and pull you through. And what was the last one? It was working out, gratitude. Oh, what was the last one you said?
Do you think I remember anything that I'm just kidding. Like the people that your
No,
tribes.
no.
Oh, humbling yourself.
Humbling, asking for
Asking for
help.
help.
Asking for help. Oof.
And listen,
Asking for
I
help.
just have to say something because I just feel like I have to say it. There's no, if all of that and you're still feeling like you, because I was doing all that and I still felt like I'm not in control of my emotions and it's scary and it's hard. And so I spoke to my doctor and I'm fully on an SSRI, like
What's that?
Zoloft, an
Oh,
antidepressant.
okay. And
Uh,
therapy.
and therapy. Therapy,
Therapy.
yes. Therapy, antidepressants are okay. I'm not going to become addicted to drugs, Dad. It's fine. It doesn't have to be forever. It can be temporary if you speak to your doctor and I've been on it since September and it's helped me a lot.
I
It's
love
helped
it.
me kind of like, it's been a bit like a jump start to all the other aforementioned
Yes,
things and
yes, yes.
tools in my
It
toolbox.
gives you like a ground to stand on.
Yes, baseline
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
yeah.
And it's okay. And it's if you need it forever, fine. If you need it for a little while, also fine. Like, don't be afraid. And I feel like it's one of those taboo things.
It
It's
really
like,
is.
you
And
don't know how many people are on some sort of
you don't
medication.
know. And I was talking about that this morning in my class. You look at other people and you feel like it looks easy for them. And my mantra today was it's supposed to be hard. Like life is hard. It's supposed to be hard. If it feels hard, it's just because you're working.
I love that you said that because the owner of the gym I go to in Hoboken, he always says, he's like, things are hard in here so that you can handle
Yes.
everything out in life in the
Yeah,
real
and it's
world.
supposed to be
Yes.
like it's not there is no world in which it's just easy, 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 easy. And if it is, it's probably because you're taking the easy, easy,
And
easy
it's
way
not
out.
worth it.
Yeah.
I had a friend tell me recently, if it's on easy mode, I don't want it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so true. And I would also recommend that everybody read. I think I sent it to you. I was like, this reminds me of you. The Guest House by Rumi. And that kind of just helps you understand, like when you're feeling all these emotions and you're like, why? Oh, like I'm not in control. Why am I feeling this? Oh my God, now I'm feeling like this. I'm on
We
this.
love a book wreck.
Yes. The Guest House by Rumi. It's just such a beautifully painted picture of like emotions, all of them running the gamut, coming and going, and why every single one of them, whether it feels amazing or feels horrible and you want to die, why they're all so important. And you need to just realize, acknowledge that they're there, let them pass, and just like take it at face value. That's all it is.
Oh, I get
You
it.
are
I
not
get it. Guest
those,
house. Mhm.
yeah, you are not those emotions. You are just experiencing and feeling them.
Last thing, Alex 6 months ago versus Alex now, or maybe like 8 months ago. What would you say to her if she was sitting across from you right now in just like the worst place shell of a person? What advice would you give her?
It's going to get better. It's going to get better. It always does. You are not going to be down bad forever.
Mm,
Everything is what's that quote? It's like the bad news, everything is temporary. The good news, everything is temporary.
yeah,
Pain's temporary, suffering is temporary. Don't read too much into the highs. Don't read too much into the lows because they're all going to come and go constantly. That's life.
no one escapes the
No.
lows.
So just keep doing what you're doing, even if you feel like you're not accomplishing anything or getting anything done. Like even if all I did was get up, take one of your classes, take a shower, and walk my dog.
Mm,
And then I laid on the couch for the rest of the day and went to sleep. It's okay. If I drank, we talked about this. If I drank a whole bottle of wine, it's fine.
mm-hmm,
It's not gonna be an every night thing.
mm-hmm.
Do what you have to do, but just keep pushing yourself. No matter if it's really hard, some days are easier the others. Just keep taking steps forward because it's gonna get better. I already feel immensely better. I'm still very much riding the wave,
Yeah,
battling
yeah,
the battle, fighting the
yeah.
good fight, but like I'm having more good days than bad now. And when I have the bad days, I'm so much more equipped to handle them and get through. And I have my little tools that are coming in handy and I can understand it better. And so just I would tell her to just hold on because it's going to get better. And also, not only am I going to get better and get back to where I was, I'm going to be better than when I was at my best, when thought I was on top of the world, like this time last year. Like I'm going to be so much better than I even am now. And like, I'm almost actually excited. Like I'm choosing faith in the unknown and
Yes,
excitement instead of fear
yes,
of the unknown. And
yeah.
it's easier said than done some days, but like, I just like on repeat, baby, on repeat. I'm
You're
like a
doing it.
phoenix rising from the ashes.
I cannot wait for 3 months from now and
Me
then
too.
6 months from now and then a year from now, but also just enjoying this process and being like inquisitive and
Mhm.
not fully having to understand everything. And this is also a really unique time of your life, this transition period. So if anybody's there also in that in between, like chill in the in between for a second. Like, especially if you have the ability to do that, like,
Yes.
because you're not going to be in the in between. Like, life will hit you and then you'll be back in your routine. And before you know it, you're going to have a schedule and have to be up at a certain time.
I know. I'm enjoying like not waking up at 2 a.m. anymore. I mean, granted, I'm going to bed at 2 a.m. now. It's like opposites, but like it's okay too. There are a lot of people in my life who I love who felt some type of way about me going to get this part-time job. And I'm like, guys, unless you are financing me,
Right.
please kindly shut up.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna go out
Yeah,
and
yeah,
make
yeah.
money how
You're doing it.
and like
Yeah.
I'm just gonna like just get a part-time job. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, maybe I was on television in the number one market 6 months ago and now I'm working at a restaurant part-time. Who cares? Who cares?
Nobody.
I'm not better than anything or anyone.
Yeah.
So
Nobody.
do what you gotta do.
Stay humble, folks. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're
I'm
the
so
best.
proud of you. Love you. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.